General Radahn is known by many as one of the most powerful and influential demigods across the lands between. Many travelers across the lands regard him to be one of the strongest of foes. Located at Redmane Castle in Caelid, Radahn was amongst the children of Rennala and Radagon. His flaming red hair inherited from his father Radagon. I was born a champion's cub, now I am the lord of the battlefield's lion. The golden lion showcased across his armor symbolizes his fondness of the powerful Elden Lord Godfrey. And he was naturally captivated by the Lord of the Battlefield. In this fascination and admiration for Godfrey, he would learn and train like the Elden Lord himself, honing his combat skills from a very young age. Radahn was not all about power and might, though. He also had a tender heart. His trusty steed Leonard was his closest companion, and as Radahn grew in might and stature, he feared Leonard could no longer bear his weight. So he travelled to Celia, the town of sorcery, where he would learn to master the gravitational powers, so that he could make himself weightless, allowing him to never leave his trusty steed's side. This would be a friendship that would last to the very end. Radahn learned all he could from an alabaster lord, an ancient race said to have awoken from the collision of a giant meteor long ago. He could now manipulate gravitational forces and projectiles at will, and his powers had grown considerably. He went on to master the collapsing star's gravitational power. I thank you for the tutelage, for now I can challenge the stars. Radahn would then hold those stars captive in the sky to defend his kingdom. The hidden path to Nokron was protected and out of reach from Ranni the Witch. If Ranni was to enact her plan, destruction may have been imminent across Radahn's sacred lands. Radahn holds Ranni's state in the palm of his hands.
The hidden treasure of Nokron. My thanks. Finally all the pieces are in place. Soon must I begin my journey. Upon the dark path only I may tread.
He would build his fortress in Caelid with his trusty Redmane soldiers to guard and protect all hours of the day and night. Their surcoat depicts a Redmane lion raising a sword in the image of Radahn, their helm fashioned after a lion's fang. They were loyal to their leader and great champion of the Shattering. General Radahn's soldiers were all reputed to be masterful warriors, and it was universally said that the Redmanes knew no weakness. Days after the Shattering, Radahn would be put to the test in the great clash they named Battle of Aeonia, where Malenia and Radahn would lock horns in combat, a fight for the ages.
The conqueror of the stars, General Radahn. And the blade of Miquella and Malenia the Seventh.
Malenia, Blade of Miquella, had been born into scarlet rot. Much like poison, it would build up as time went on, consuming and putrefying its victims. Scarlet rot took over Malenia's body and mind, but she still rose to take on Radahn. She was a great foe to this mammoth demigod, and she was his true rival. There is a reason, she says, I have never known defeat. A telling tale of a great champion.
I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella. And I have never known defeat.
Joined by her companions, the Cleanrod Knights, Malenia travelled to Redmane Castle to take the fight to Radahn and his Redmane soldiers. But Radahn would not kneel to this undefeated champion. Some wanderers even said that Radahn's true powers were never shown. as the weight of the stars and his trusty steed held him back from his true potential. But he was truly an honourable and worthy leader and didn't back away from the fight. The Battle of Aeonia took place as both fought valiantly until both could no longer stand. But it was Malenia that would have the final say, as she ignited a deadly attack they called Scarlet Bloom. Radahn would then be consumed by the deadly scarlet rot, eaten from the inside, divested of his wits. Finlay, one of the only few survivors of the Battle of Aeonia, in an unimaginable act of heroism, carried the slumbering Malenia all the way back to Helgrig Tree to heal. She managed the feat alone, fending off all manner of foes along the way. Cleanrot Knight Finlay was a true loyal soldier. Radahn also survived this fight, but only barely, as his body was the only part of him left. His mind had been infected by the scarlet rot, consumed by it. He now roams the forgotten lands, eating the corpses of friends and foes alike, gorging on them like a dog. An endless nightmare, a fate worse than death. His feet were also eaten away by the rot, making Leonard the steed more useful than he'd ever been. The rot had dissipated his abilities, so you can only imagine the mighty strength and what his full potential could have been. Still, he is controlling the stars, holding them captive even after his punishment. Some Redmane soldiers survived and pushed the scarlet rot far away from the castle, creating barriers and walls to prevent another infection sweeping through. The rot also made monsters of the animals in the region, turning anything in their path to this decaying nightmare. Alas, dear home, I shan't see you again, for our duty is to remain here, a bulwark against the blight. When they were driven out by Malenia's scarlet rot, the Redmane Knights burned the crest of the left breast of their armour to indicate their resolve. As loyal soldiers, they continue to provide watch for Radahn, as they know this mighty beast once was a conquering champion, and they wanted to see their beloved leader have an honourable death. And in that, they decided to create the Festival of Combat.
Champions! Welcome! A celebration of war! The Radahn Festival!
Whispers scattered across the lands between, some terrified of the prospect, but others up for the challenge. When you enter Redmane Castle, you're not greeted with a ferocious barrage of attacks from the Redmane Knights, no, but a song by the soldiers of the castle in honour of Radahn, the Song of Honour, a celebration of war. This is the Radahn Festival.
Make merry. O gathering of champions, the revels begin. The celebration of war. The Radahn Festival!
Many warriors travelled across the lands to challenge Radahn, some ready to fight for glory, others frightened by what was to come. As his gravitational powers were so strong that Radahn could ride a meteor from the sky and destroy his foes with one fell swoop, a brutal and unparamounted maneuver that only a demigod could achieve. Radahn's arrow attacks also show a glimpse of the Battle of Aeonia, as those same arrows are the ones of Cleanrot Knight's spears that he was stabbed by during that great battle. Radahn's powerful and versatile attacks are enough for some to flee like a gazelle. Even though Radahn is outnumbered by the warriors across the lands, it's a true showcase of how powerful he really is. You could say that the battle, in a way, was this champion's funeral. Into the fray together, the warriors would fight sword and fang, becoming victorious, as Radahn would fall in a great and honourable fight where his display of power and strength was on centre stage, and with his death came the falling of the stars as they were no longer captive. This is where we saw a glimpse of his true power. As the meteors and stars of plenty fall, you see what this man was holding back and holding for all this time. General Radahn was an honourable champion that will never be forgotten. A living legend. Thanks everyone for watching that Elden Ring lore video. One of my first ever, so please, constructive feedback. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. What a pleasure it was to dive deep for the last few days into this incredibly rich and complex character of Radahn. Hopefully I did it justice and hopefully you enjoyed. If you did enjoy the video, guys, please subscribe with notifications on, leave a like, and also comment below if you found any details about Radahn that you'd like to share. Leave them in the comments. I want to give a big shout out to Bonfire VN for some of the incredible footage here you saw of Radahn, the Elden Lord. Plenty of footage that he provided. Make sure you head over and subscribe to this absolute legend. Also a big shout out to Vata Vidya. He's a fellow Australian legend and inspiration for this video. Take care everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.